Have you ever watched someone destroy their own future in less than 60 seconds? I have, and the person who did it was my own son. He pointed at me in front of hundreds of employees and shouted, "Security! Get this old man out of my building!" No one moved, not because they were afraid, but because something about the situation didn't feel right. I quietly reached into my jacket and pulled out a small black leather card holder. Inside was a single identification card. The senior security officer looked at it. His face instantly turned white. He took one step back, then another. His voice shook as he whispered, "Sir, I'm so sorry." 3 minutes later, the board of directors walked into the lobby. Every executive stood up, and the same son who had just thrown me out couldn't believe what happened next. My name is William Carter. I'm 72 years old. Most people think I'm just a retired man who occasionally visits Carter Technologies. They see gray hair, simple clothes, an old watch, nothing more. They don't know I founded this company 45 years ago with only $3,000 in savings and a dream. Back then, I repaired broken computers in a tiny garage. During the day, I worked 18 hours. At night, I slept on the workshop floor. Little by little, customers trusted me. Employees joined me. Investors believed in my vision. Today, Carter Technologies has offices around the world. More than 12,000 employees. Billions in annual revenue. Years ago, I stepped down as CEO, but I never stepped away completely. The board insisted I remain chairman emeritus. Only a handful of people knew the truth. Even my own son, Ryan, didn't know everything. I wanted him to build his own reputation, not live in my shadow. Unfortunately, success changed him. Promotion after promotion, praise after praise, made him believe the company belonged to him. And one Monday morning, he made the biggest mistake of his life. Monday mornings were always my favorite. Instead of using the executive entrance, I always entered through the main lobby. I enjoyed talking with receptionists, shaking hands with security guards, asking employees about their families. To me, a company wasn't built in boardrooms. It was built by ordinary people who showed up every day. That morning felt different. Employees avoided eye contact. Some whispered as I walked past. I sensed something had changed. Before I reached the elevator, Ryan stepped out of his office. He was wearing a tailored navy suit, a gold watch, and the confident smile of someone who believed he owned the world. "Dad, we need to talk," I smiled. "Of course." Instead of inviting me into his office, he spoke loudly enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. "I've received complaints. You keep walking around talking to employees. You interfere with management." I looked at him calmly. "I'm simply saying hello." He laughed. "This isn't your company anymore. It's time to stop pretending you matter." The lobby became completely silent. Receptionists stopped typing. Visitors turned around. Even the security guards looked uncomfortable. I asked quietly, "Is that really how you feel?" Ryan folded his arms. "I've made my decision. You are no longer welcome here." Then he pointed toward the entrance. "Security, escort this man outside." No one moved. The guards looked at each other. One of them quietly said, "Sir, are you sure?" Ryan's face turned red. "Did you hear me?" I said, "Remove him." Still, no one moved. I slowly reached into my jacket, pulled out a black leather card holder, and removed one simple identification card. Without saying a word, I handed it to the senior security officer. He glanced down. His expression changed instantly. His hands began to shake. He swallowed hard. Then, he stood perfectly straight and said in a trembling voice, "Good morning, Mr. Chairman." The entire lobby froze. Ryan frowned. "What did you just call him?" The security officer handed the ID back to me with both hands. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't recognize you." Ryan laughed nervously. This has to be some kind of joke. Before anyone could answer, the private elevator doors opened. The CEO stepped out. Behind him, every member of the board of directors. The moment they saw me, every one of them stood still. Then, almost in unison, they nodded respectfully. The CEO smiled warmly. "Good morning, Mr. Carter. The board is waiting for you." Ryan's confident smile disappeared. For the first time in his life, he realized the man he had just ordered security to remove was far more important than he had ever imagined. Ryan stood frozen. His eyes moved from me to the CEO, then to the board members. No one spoke. The CEO finally broke the silence. "Ryan, please join us in the boardroom." His confident walk was gone. He quietly followed us upstairs. Inside the boardroom, 12 directors were already seated. The company's legal counsel sat beside the CEO. I walked to the head of the table. As I pulled out the chair, every director stood. Not because they had to, but because that had been the company's tradition for over 40 years. The founder always entered first. Ryan whispered, "No, this can't be real." The company secretary opened the meeting. Meeting number 248 of the board of directors. Chairman William Carter presiding. Ryan's face lost all color. He looked at me. "Dad, you're the chairman?" I nodded calmly. "I've always been." The legal counsel placed a thick binder on the table. Inside were the company's ownership records. He turned to the final page. "Richard?" He paused. William Carter, founder, chairman of the board, majority shareholder, 53% ownership." Ryan stared at the document. His hands began to shake. "You still own more than half the company?" "Yes." "Then why didn't anyone tell me?" I answered softly. "Because I wanted you to earn respect, not inherit authority." The CEO looked directly at Ryan. "This morning, you attempted to remove the chairman from company property. You also violated company policy by giving orders without board approval." One director added, "You embarrassed the company in front of employees and visitors." Another spoke. "The issue isn't that he's your father. The issue is that you abused your position." Ryan slowly lowered his head. "I know. I was wrong." The room fell silent. The CEO turned toward me. "Mr. Chairman, the board recommends immediate removal from his executive position." Several directors nodded. One even suggested termination. I listened carefully, then stood up. When I built this company, I made mistakes too. I was young. I was proud. And someone gave me a second chance. I looked at Ryan. But second chances must be earned. I turned back to the board. My recommendation is not termination. The directors exchanged surprised looks. Demote him, effective immediately. For the next 6 months, he will work as a management trainee. No executive office. No executive salary. He will report to department managers, just like every other employee. If he proves he deserves leadership, we'll discuss his future. Ryan looked at me with tears in his eyes. "You'd still give me a chance?" I nodded. "I'm giving you an opportunity, not a reward." The board voted. Unanimous. The decision was approved. Ryan realized that losing his title wasn't the end of his career. It was the beginning of becoming the leader he should have been all along. The boardroom was silent. Ryan remained standing. His expensive suit, his executive title, his confidence, none of it mattered anymore. For the first time in his life, he understood that respect could not be demanded. It had to be earned. The CEO slid a new employee badge across the table. Effective immediately, your executive access has been removed. You'll report to the operations manager tomorrow morning. Ryan picked up the badge with trembling hands. Instead of reading Chief Operating Officer, it simply read, Management Trainee. He closed his eyes. I understand. The next morning, there was no reserved parking space waiting for him. No private elevator, no executive diving. Ryan entered through the same employee entrance as everyone else. He wore a simple blue company uniform. For the first time, he stood in line for coffee beside warehouse workers. Nobody treated him like a boss. They treated him like a new employee. Weeks passed. Ryan learned how difficult every department really was. He helped unload delivery trucks. He packed customer orders. He answered customer complaints. He cleaned oil spills on the factory floor. One rainy afternoon, an elderly janitor accidentally dropped a heavy bucket. Without hesitation, Ryan rushed over. "Don't worry, I've got it." The janitor smiled. "Thank you. I remember when your father used to do the same thing." Ryan stopped. "My father?" The old man nodded. 40 years ago, he cleaned these floors himself. He never asked anyone to do a job he wasn't willing to do." Ryan looked down at his hands. For the first time, he truly understood why people respected me. It had never been because I owned the company. It was because I respected everyone in it. 6 months later, the board gathered once again. The CEO smiled. "We've received reports from every department. The warehouse manager says Ryan is always the first to arrive. The customer service supervisor says he stays late to help new employees. The factory foreman says employees trust him." I looked at Ryan. He no longer wore expensive watches. He no longer spoke with arrogance. Instead, he stood quietly, waiting, not expecting anything. I stood. "Ryan, what have you learned?" He took a deep breath. "I thought leadership meant giving orders. I was wrong. Leadership means serving people. I thought titles earned respect. They don't. Character does." The room remained silent. Then I smiled. For the first time, "You're ready." I picked up the promotion papers, signed my name, and handed them to the CEO. The board applauded, but Ryan didn't celebrate. Instead, he walked over to me, with tears in his eyes. He hugged me tightly. "I'm sorry, Dad. I wasn't ashamed of you. I was ashamed of the man I had become." I placed my hand on his shoulder. The strongest leaders are the ones humble enough to admit when they're wrong. That evening, we stood outside the company headquarters. Employees were leaving after work. Many stopped to shake Ryan's hand, not because he had a title, but because they genuinely respected him. He smiled. "Dad, thank you for not giving up on me." I looked at the building we had both helped shape. I never wanted to build a successful company. I wanted to build good people. Sometimes, life teaches us through success. Sometimes, it teaches us through failure. But the greatest lesson of all is that a title can open a door. Only character can keep it open.